Welcome to TESPN's soccer broadcast today. We've got the visitors from Christchurch School, the Fighting Seahorses, coming into Titan territory to take on your Trinity Episcopal Titans. I'm Rick Hamlin here, along with.
Cooper Mitchelluk. Should be a fun day here today.
Yeah, it's a great day to play soccer. Sun is out, probably upper 70s, little warm, but nice cooling breeze, not too humid. So it's about as nice as a day as you could ask for in mid-October, and we are very much in mid-October as it is the 14th. So here we sit on this upper field here at Trinity Episcopal School, where the Titans are on a six-game unbeaten streak. The last six games, 5 wins and one draw. The one draw, a 3-3 over at St. Christopher's, and then 5 victories, including beating the likes of Benedictine, Norfolk Academy, St. John Paul the Great, Covenant, and I believe Veritas was at the front end of that win streak. Um, and so, yeah, the six game unbeaten streak. But Christchurch, they come in at 6 wins, 3 losses, and a tie. So a really good record for the Seahorses as well. And they have won their last four. So really figures to be two teams who are both coming in good form, and we are about to get this thing
Yeah,
kicked off here. Keeper Mitchell Kugelman, I think, had to maybe just go fill his water bottle. Like I said, it's a little bit of a warm day, so he wants to have some hydration with him. And Cooper, what are you expecting to see as we kick this thing off here?
I'm expecting to see some early pressure from the Titans. They really love to put that high press on early and go for an early goal. But we will see because so far this season they have been lacking in early goals and they've been leaving a lot of their games late. And I think that's come back to bite them against the really high quality teams. When they haven't gotten ahead early. We even saw it in the game we commentated against Benedictine. It was
Mm-hmm.
really close, even though the 4-1, 4-0,
4-0 scoreline.
4-0 did not show it. It was
Yep.
very close throughout that entire game until the very end.
Yeah, all four of those goals came in the last quarter of the match, the second half of the second half, and we'll see if they can get on the board earlier here. On Tuesday against Covenant with a 1-0 win, that goal came in the second half, and as they look for a big switch there, do the Seahorses out to their number 10, Nicholas Salas. But Griffin Wright, I talk about it every time, but he is the master of winning those 50-50 balls, and Griffin Wright gets brought down by Salas from behind, and the Titans will earn a free kick just inside their own half. Yeah, so in that six-game unbeaten streak, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I would venture to say at least two-thirds of Trinity's goals have come in the second half of games, which if you had to be better in one half or the other, you'd probably take the second half. But I think you're right, Cooper. It would be nice for the Titans if they could really jump out to an early lead here and not leave it late, as has been the custom. The John Paul the Great game that we broadcast last week, they dug a 2-0 hole before coming back to win it 5-3. The St. Christopher's draw that we mentioned over at their place last Tuesday, I believe that was, the Titans scored in the 90th minute on a penalty kick by Quinn Slaybaugh to nick that draw. So, yeah, you'd love to get a couple goals here in the first half. I think that would really build the confidence, ease any anxiety, and also send a message to the Christchurch Seahorses, who, as we said, they're themselves on a 4-game winning streak. So I think this start is critical. And the Seahorses in good position here with Brian Floyd. Good job by Davis Geis stepping in to make the tackle.
And I think another thing, especially Trinity, they had a little bit of a rough start to their season, so they're going to have to go near perfection here to want to make that state tournament.
Yep. Um, yeah, Titans at the most recent poll sat in 10th in the state, top 12 make it. So they're in good shape to make it because I think they have 3 wins even since the last poll. Having said that, though, you really want to get in that top 8 and earn a home game. These guys have been very good on the home pitch, and with only one loss in the very first home game to Collegiate, and then they've won them all since then. Um, Correction, I guess they actually did drop it 3-2 to St. Chris early as well, but I think four wins in a row here at home. So we'd love to get that home game. They've had some really spirited and large home crowds this fall. As the game kicks off, crowd a little sparse right now, but I think you'll see as other practices of other teams end and as parents filter in from the workday that this place will get a lot more full, and the crowds here at home have been big. So getting
Yep.
that top 8 would be a huge boost. It's been many years since the Titans have hosted a state tournament game at home. Although they've made some good runs, like the Final Four run in 2018, but that was all on the road. And ball played out here to Caleb Uminovich, who's starting for the first time in a while. He'd been coming off the bench. He's played all over the field. He's played center back. He's played as a defensive center mid, and now he's playing out on the left and plays a beautiful ball in from the left, looking for Colin Flood at the far post, but it was just a little bit out of the reach of Flood.
Yeah, and that's the great thing. His versatility, I'd say a lot thanks to his size and speed. He's one of those players who you see, he's so tall, and you think, oh, he's that tall, he can't be that fast. And then you see him breaking a run down the wing, and you're like, oh, crap, where'd that come from? And
Yeah.
he will burn you on every aspect of the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb really kind of has it all in terms of technical skill, speed, the size that you referenced, versatility to play a number of positions. So he's a really fun player to watch. He came in last year as a transfer as a junior from Powhatan High School, but of course last year the Titans had a very limited schedule in the fall of 2020 with COVID. So it's great to see him really getting in the swing of things, and I think his best play has been in recent games. Even I think I saw on his mom's Facebook that she said that John Paul game was the best she'd seen him play in a Titan uniform. So great stuff recently from Caleb. As JT Morris crushes that ball up into the bleachers. And we are just over 5 minutes in here in the early going. Seahorses throw in. Griffin Wright looks to intercept. Connor Simonton, who's had a big role to play in recent games. He was coming off the bench earlier this season, but Simonton is now starting, and we're going to have to throw that again as a second ball was on the field. So going to redo that throw. Yeah, so the Titans have gone recent games to the 4-2-3-1 alignment. But they have changed the personnel a little bit with Charlie Kemp coming back into the starting lineup. He'd been injured for several games, so it's good to see Charlie back out there.
Yeah, and I think another thing we'll see is a real impact player for the Titans that we haven't already mentioned is Quinn Slayball. He has the finesse of a player much older than what he is, even though he is a senior.
Yeah, good.
And you will see him making runs. You might not see him always on the ball because he will make runs to distract the defenders, make some beautiful flicks, and I think he's going to be a real key aspect of this Titan offense.
Yeah, Quinn's had a great season. He puts a lot of pressure on the back line, both with the ball but also from a defensive standpoint. And there's a beautiful touch by Colin Flood off to Jack Fannin. Fannin has it tackled away but goes right to Charlie Kemp, who puts it to Connor Simonton. And Simonton puts the first shot of the game on goal from about 30 yards out, saved by Ethan Jones, senior keeper of the Seahorses. And Ethan's punt went out of bounds for a throw. Ethan putting his hand up, a little bit of a my bad there by Jones, the keeper. But no harm done for Christchurch. Colin Flood pressuring the back line, using those quick feet. Colin's had such a great season. Incredibly dedicated player, hard worker. He's always putting time into his craft. And he's really become just the consummate playmaker for this team, scoring a bunch of goals, but also setting up goals in that classic number 10 attacking central role. Love what Colin's been doing of late.
Yeah, and they seem to usually a lot of times I've seen him. They put him out on the wing to use his blazing speed, but here they put him into more of a defensive midi role.
Yeah, Colin has, I think, a little bit of just free license to find gaps and spots in the defense. So sometimes that role carries him out wide where he can kind of put his back to the touchline and see the field. Other times he's really just looking for gaps in the defense to get the ball on his feet. Because if you can get the ball on Colin Flood's feet, good things are liable to happen. And it's on his feet now, and a perfect one-touch layoff to Connor Simonton. Beautiful ball out to Caleb Uminovich. I like this. and he put a nice ball into the far post. Jack Fannin was able to get ahead to it, but didn't get a whole lot of purchase on it, and easily collected by Ethan Jones. This punt by Jones is better than his last one as it crosses midfield where Connor Simonton meets it with his head, and Charlie Kemp brings it down, and he's going to carry it forward. Simonton back to Kemp.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that was a clever run by Fannin as he cut inside the defenders, but a good job by Christchurch to sniff it out. And now Liam Smith is getting forward.
Oh, just no one there in the middle. Just unlucky for Liam there. Good ball.
Yeah, it was a good thought, and Caleb Muminovich is going to have a chance to. Oh, a nice overlapping run by Griffin Wright.
Just wasn't on the same page with Quinn Slayball there, who did not see him playing the ball down to the corner.
Yeah, no, it was marshaled out of there by Davis Ball, the defender for the Seahorses, and they will get an opportunity to take a goal kick here. Still scoreless, just over 9 minutes in.
And it looks like they might have Serrano taking this goal kick for the keeper.
Yeah, that's something we've seen a fair amount of this year, and actually keeper Ethan Jones is making his way over to the sideline here for
Shingards?
Ah, yes.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
Thought the socks looked a little low.
Yeah, trying to get away with not wearing his shin guards. Sometimes keepers feel like, well, I'm not in the middle of the action. I may not really need these guards, but that, of course, is not what is allowed. So he put those on, and good, big goal kick by Serrano. But the Titans, again, controlling possession as they're starting to get a good foothold in regards to possession. Quinn Slayball with an unfortunate slip. This field, I did walk it this afternoon, and we have gotten some rain. Not terrible, but the field is a little bit, the footing's not quite what it's been. Little bit damp in places, and you saw that affect Slayball there.
Yeah.
This morning it was actually really wet as we got some rain the last couple of days, plus just some overnight dew with the fall. Nighttime temperatures dropping a little bit. And I even noticed today the grounds crew did a really nice job. They cut the field today, and they replaced a bunch of divots, but the field is so beautiful, and it's just not quite where it was a couple of weeks ago, and that's bound to happen as the weather gets cooler, the nights get cooler. JT Morris's pass there is cut out. A nice interception by Andrew Updike. Updike, the big senior captain. It appears that there's a couple Seahorses wearing that captain's armband. Number 17 Updike, as well as number 12 Antonio Serrano. Both have the bright orange captain's bands on.
And also Copper Lehman.
Yeah, number 7. You're right in front of us there. Good pressure by Caleb Muminovich. Connor Semno with another long-range effort.
Oh,
and
beautiful shot. That looked like that was curling in.
I think it was curling in at that bottom post. So a nice save by Ethan Jones, his third save of the first half, but by far his most challenging one yet. The earlier two saves he had were pretty routine, but that one he did well to get down. Nice shot by Simonton, but it is going to lead to the first corner of the game for the Titans, and corner kicks have been a real weapon for this team. At the John Paul the Great game last Thursday, Titans scored 2 corner kick goals, actually by each of the starting center backs, Davis Geis and JT Morris, and they're both in there now. And Colin Flood plays a nice ball in, well handled by Jones to punch it out. The chance is not totally gone yet, though, as Jack Fannin looks to turn the corner. And a really nice job there by John Ball, the Christchurch defender, to not only tackle it off of Fannin, but also knock it off of Fannin's shin last and give the ball back over to Christchurch. Yeah, so Colin Flood's corner kicks, he really puts them in dangerous spots. At first, when I saw he started taking them, I was like, you're taking one of your top goal-scoring threats out of the box, and I was a little unsure how wise that was. But Flood's corners are so good that it's paid dividends. Like I said, with 2 goals in the Christchurch, in the John Paul the Great game. We'll see if there's any goals in this Christchurch game. What a ball by Flood! Slayball has a great opportunity and a goal.
That was an absolutely beautiful run from Slayball right there,
Great shot from Slaybaugh.
using Jack
Great,
Fannin really as
yeah,
a screen.
yeah, great credit though. Colin Flood really set that up. He played that ball right in stride for Slaybaugh, and Slaybaugh got it on his right foot, where then he was just able to put it far post, and nothing Ethan Jones could do about that. And I also think Jones was a little bit unsighted with several defenders in front, and also, to your point, Fannin kind of screened him. And Slaybaugh is coming back for more as he intercepts the ensuing kickoff. Yeah, that's huge. So Cooper, you had called for wanting to see an early goal today, and the Titans get one in the 14th minute to take that 1-0 lead.
Yeah, and now you always have to ask the question, what do you do from here? It's still really early in the game, so I do not see Coach Phillips switching the game plan up. But there are always the coaches that say once we have one, it's done and push back.
Yeah,
But I don't see the Titans doing
no,
that
I
here.
don't see that happening. Certainly not this early. I think it's definitely too early to just sit on that lead, and they're going to want to put one or two more in before halftime if possible, and also know that Christchurch is dangerous on the counter. This Christchurch team has scored, I believe, 37 goals this year. I checked last night. I think I remember that accurately in their 10 matches. So I mean that's an average of 3.7 per game. Now, I think some of the competition they played is not to the level of these Trinity Episcopal Titans. A couple of those were big score line, 7-0, that type of thing against some smaller schools. But still, that just shows you they have guys who are capable and confident of putting the ball in the back of the net. So
Yeah.
I look for more goals in this game to be sure. And Seahorses get a free kick here, which they play into the box. Antonio Serrano played that one in. And it's going to be kept alive by Pablo Granados. And now it does go out for a goal kick, but that was well won by Granados there, the junior midfielder.
Oh, looks like they're just going to give it to the Titans goalkeeper there.
Yeah, Kugelman looked for Caleb Muminovic, but a nice job to intercept and head it by Reese Jones. And now Brian Floyd looks to beat Griffin right off the dribble, which is no easy feat, and he's not able to do it because Griffin is just not going to let people go by him. Griffin used his body really well there. And Jack Fannin had a little bit of a heavy touch. Liam Smith to Charlie Kemp, and Charlie just plays as he's facing back to Davis Geis, and now he looks for the big switch to Colin Flood. And we talked about that kind of free roll that Flood has. Now he's drifted out to the left wing where he could find some space. So a really good look by Davis Geis. As you can tell, this team has really worked a lot on switching the point of attack, and they're going to do it again. Simonton back to Geis, and now just like that, it's all the way over to the right wing, and now back to the left.
And I think a big thing that I've really noticed so far this game is when we saw the Benedictine game, the Titans still had the same dominant players that they have here today. But today, Titans are linking up their passes. They're not outside of that one ball. They're on the same page with the runs. There's very little screaming and yelling at each other. And it's that kind of nonverbal communication that you need to get to that next level, especially it's going to be needed in the state tournament.
Yeah, I think you're right, Cooper, and I think they're just playing with more confidence than they have all year, and in fact probably in several years. And that's what a 6-game unbeaten streak would do for you. They have really developed some real nice patterns of play. People are comfortable in their positions. It's a nice mix of a bunch of seniors and juniors out there in the starting lineup. In fact, I think every starter today is a junior or senior, so a nice experienced group as Colin Flood brings it forward, lays it off nicely in stride to Caleb Muminovic, who can rip him from out there. But good job by Christchurch to get in the way. John Ball played it out for a Titan throw.
Yeah, and it's going to, I mean, they really are enjoying the space that Christchurch has given them on the left side so far. But those center halves of Christchurch have honestly done an amazing job outside of that one absolutely beautiful run by Quinn Slayball of stopping the Titans' final passes and final runs.
Yeah, and one thing about Christchurch, their coach, Matthew Schaefer, who's been the head coach of the boys and girls team at Christchurch for 18 years. So that's 36 seasons that he's coached varsity soccer. at Christchurch School. He's a really good coach, and he really knows how to drill his team to defend. I personally have coached against Coach Schaefer's teams many times on the girls' side, and he just always has his team well drilled. They do a nice job in their positioning. They cover for each other, and they tend to always overachieve no matter what the talent level. And this group, it looks pretty talented. They look to have some good technical players, some good size, and some good speed. But they're to your point, like I knew they would be tough to break down. Just Coach Schaefer's teams always are. So he's done a phenomenal job there as the leader of Christchurch soccer for a long, long time. But Colin Flood there is able to intercept. I think
Maybe just a little bit too fancy there.
Caleb took maybe one too many touches as well because it was on a quick overlap, and now.
But Titans have really been dominating the midfield. Christchurch has been really outside of, I'd say, believe 2 free kicks, been really limited in their attacking opportunities so far this game.
Yeah, that was a nice interception by Fannin, who played it out to Muminovic, and another turnover there by Caleb, who was off to a great start early in the game, but his last 2 times on the ball have resulted in turnovers. So needs to keep that focus. He is still, I think, getting used to that new position out there on that left wing, but he's played it really well and scored a brilliant goal, the 5th of 5 against John Paul the Great a week ago. Long throw down the line by Christchurch. Griffin Wright with a nice turn, leaves the defender in the dust. Not sure what Griffin was trying to do with that. He got lucky, though, that Caleb took it on his head, and Flood looked for the switch. Well defended, but Charlie Kemp is in there.
Ooh. I think that might have hit him in the face.
Yeah, although he's.
And I think he might have been.
He's up.
Yep.
I think it was just the ball there, but anytime you get hit in the face from close range, it kind of knocks some of that animal instinct into you to just
fall.
Yeah, well, and also I was just going to say fight or flight sort of response, and so Charlie hopped up like he'd been punched in the face, but I really think it was just a kicked ball that caught him. So he's walking it off. I think he actually seemed to apologize to the defender who he at first kind of had a word with, and now it's going to be a drop ball.
Just one touch by Davis Ball, and I think that would have been a goal for Caleb Muminovic.
Yeah,
there.
So that was interesting. So it was a drop ball because of the head injury, and then the Titans looked to quickly counter on the drop ball, and Christchurch coaching staff not happy. They really felt like they should have played it back as Flood floats in another corner. And I even so I heard the Christchurch coach said, "I'm mad at Green for playing that ball," and I actually heard Coach Phillips say, "Yeah, I agree." So I think he wanted them just to retain possession, not to use it as a scoring opportunity. And that's a new rule within the last couple of years, where if it is a head situation, then they have to stop the game by rule, and then it goes back to the team that was deemed to be in possession, which in this case was Trinity. But I don't think Coach Phillips wanted them to use that like as a free kick, which is kind of what happened. But anyway, all's well that ends well. I mean, they did get a corner kick. Christchurch was not happy, but at the end of the day, it doesn't result in any goals, and certainly no malice was meant. These guys just out here playing soccer, but you have the 2 coaches were in agreement that wasn't the way to handle that situation.
You always want to talk about the integrity of the game, and you never want to really. I'm never a fan of like the quick taking free kicks and stuff.
No, but again, I don't think that was in any way meant to be malicious. I think Titans they gave them the ball, they played the ball. It was actually a really clever pass, but it's just something that I think they'll address at practice tomorrow. That if we're in this situation again, let's just play it back to the back line or the keeper and go from there. So
that's what they used to have you do with drop balls.
Yeah, and that's, again, that rule change makes it a little confusing. If it hadn't happened all year, you wouldn't know. So no problems there. But Seahorses are able to have a throw in deep in Titan territory. They're bringing up Wesley Kennedy, number 15. So I would guess he maybe has a little bit bigger throw. He does get it into the box, and JT Morris plays it out to Colin Flood's feet. And this could be promising on the counterattack with Flood in space.
Oh, that's going to be a yellow.
Again, talking about integrity and sportsmanship, it is a yellow to be sure, and
Yep.
but
Immediately.
number 16, Alvaro Serrano immediately put his hand up in apology. Absolutely a foul,
Yep.
absolutely a yellow card, but no intent to injure, and thankfully Flood gets up, and that's what we call a professional foul, Cooper.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to do them.
Yeah, we always talk about man, ball, never both. You can't let them both get by you. So good clean foul by Serrano. He takes his yellow, but now he'll have to be aware of that for the rest of the game, not to I mean, if he commits another foul like that, then he'll be shown red.
Yeah. And things are starting to get a little chippy here. A little bit of talking between the players.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Caleb Muminovich tried to save that from going out, but his knee caught a little bit of, I think it was Copper Lehman who took exception. So, yeah, it's game on. I mean, this is varsity high school soccer, two good teams with winning records, and little chippy is part of it. Obviously, we don't want anything dirty, and I don't think we've seen anything dirty. We've just seen a couple hard fouls for sure. All right, Liam Smith shielded that out, but it didn't. He was hoping it would go up for a goal kick, but the ball just didn't have quite enough on it. So ultimately, Liam is going to play it out for a throw, which is going to allow each team to sub. And it looks like Joseph Eusebio Solomon, the 10th grader, number 20, coming in for the Seahorses, and Grant Riddle making his first appearance as he comes in for Jack Fannin for the Titans. Cooper, I believe it's the first sub the Titans have made.
Yes, I believe you're correct.
And we are right about halfway through the first half.
That's just another. I think
Caleb
might be. He's looking for that long switch ball all the way down to the freshly put in Grant Riddle, but I think he just took one too many there.
He held onto it a little too long, and then Titans got a little lucky there because that was kind of a hospital ball played across, but Davis Geis did well to win it, although he's now dispossessed.
And I think it's I'm sorry, I cannot say that last name. Number 20 for Christchurch, putting on a really nice press up top.
Yeah, he came in with a lot of energy, fresh off the bench. Joseph Eusebio Solomon, and this time the Seahorses play it big. Davis Geis is able to bring it down, control it, and now goes with the big switch out to Colin Flood. Flood's going to get there and have the ability to turn and face, and what a move with the scissor kick and goal.
I thought that was that would have been a highlight goal right there.
That was phenomenal by Flood. Good save by Ethan Joseph on another low shot to the corner, but Colin Flood has been tremendous all year, on his way, I think, to another all-league performance, and just such a skilled player, great vision, great ball striker with either foot, great speed. But this first 26 minutes or so, for me, is even by his high standards, is one of the better performances we've seen from Flood. And now he's going to play in the third corner kick of the game.
That was
not
going
a
back
good
to that run though. That was beautiful. Put a move, made Cooper Lehman look like he was wearing concrete shoes there. But nothing you can do about that there.
No, and like I said, I see Colin out here all the time working on his game. He's got cones out. He's often up here with Jack Fannin or Charlie Kemp. And he's just put so much into improving. He's got a real passion for the game, and you saw it come to fruition there, that beautiful move and the great shot. Good save by Ethan Jones. Colin's corner kick was not quite up to his usual standard, though, as that ball went into the side netting and resulted in a Christchurch.
What I was thinking is he was maybe trying to sneak one by.
I think he was.
Ethan Jones has been playing actually pretty out on these corners, clearly trying to look to go up for it if Colin puts it out where he thinks he can get in. I think Colin got a little cheeky there.
Yeah, I agree.
Tried to go
big switch,
little near post action.
Big switch by JT Morris to Grant Riddle, who's got a lot of pace out on the right. But good job defending by Serrano. But I think you're exactly right, Cooper. I think that was a shot.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of those high reward type plays. I mean, worst case, okay, it goes out for a goal kick, no big deal. But if that sneaks in the near post, which Flood has that ability and skill to do that, then you just doubled your lead. So I like the thought. It just didn't come off that time.
Yeah, and there's another one from Caleb Muminovich.
Yeah, he's been a little loose with it, and he lost that ball as well. But the Titans do well to defend in numbers and get it back. Quinn Slabaugh, I think, anticipated Kemp making a run that he didn't make. But Liam Smith, he's done a great job coming from that right back position.
Yeah, and he's been there all season making those runs up the side. He's just been a great, sturdy player for the Titans.
Yeah, he's really made that right back position his own. He defends well from there. He gets crosses in. He is physical, and I mean, for me, I haven't seen every game, but for me, Liam Smith has been one of the most consistent Titans all season long. And now Liam is going to have this throw in as we talk about him, and he's going to go back with it to Davis Geis.
And speaking of anchors for the Titans, the center back partnership of JT Morris and Davis Geis has been fantastic for the Titans.
Yeah, a lot of experience. They work really well together. JT, no nonsense defender, not the most skillful player, but a great athlete. And Davis, a little more comfortable with the ball, but also uses his physicality, and he reads the game so well. And also Davis, his great first touch, and there it is. I I said that because I knew he was going to make me look good there. His first touches tend to be excellent. He is able to bring those balls down out of the air with his chest, with his thigh, with his head, with his foot, with his feet. And Davis has not been 100% healthy all year, but he's continued his strong play despite a couple little nagging injuries.
Completely agree, and that's one of the reasons, speaking of injuries, really, that the Titans, I feel like, have been so powerful, especially for a Trinity soccer team, is that they have more depth than I've seen on a Trinity soccer team in a while. I mean, they have 5 or 6 players, at 2 or 3 really, at any position who they can plug right in. They'll get right into work, which you don't see on a lot of teams, and a lot of teams relying on 1, maybe 2 players. But I feel like Trinity has multiple ways that they can attack.
Yeah, this is definitely some good depth, experience. Although JT Morris's ball there is a dangerous one, right back up the middle. That though is a great release ball by Griffin Wright to Caleb Muminovic, and now Flood wants the reverse ball, and he's gonna get it. Well played by Caleb. Flood
just keeps it in.
Yeah, right below us. Definitely that ball stayed in. Flood again with the step over. He goes to the end line. Cross to Quinn Slaybaugh.
Oh,
And that shot was headed in at the near post, but well saved by Wesley Kennedy, the Christchurch defender. And now Christchurch is going to look to get forward. But Charlie Kemp, great tackle. He needs to connect a pass here, and he does. Slaybaugh to Grant Riddle, and now he looks to slot it in.
that was I think
Copper Lehman put that out. It was, I'm sure that his keeper Ethan Jones had his heart in his mouth for a minute there because that ball was nearly goal bound, but Lehman knew what he was doing. And we are 31 minutes in. Not sure if everyone can still see. We may be having some technical difficulties here, but
we are trying to get it back to you. For right now, we will be a radio show. So.
Yeah, we'll just keep describing the action, and what we have here is a corner kick played in by Colin Flood. Grant Riddle had it taken away, but he takes it right back, and
beautiful save there.
Pop to the keeper. Ethan Jones again with his, I believe, 5th save of the game. And hopefully our picture is back for folks that are watching us live right now. Good job by Griffin Wright to win that header.
I think Caleb might thought he was offsides right there.
Yeah, so you talked earlier about the importance of a good first half, and the Titans have played well. They have definitely outpossessed, outshot, and I wouldn't say outworked, but they've had the majority of the possession and in the offensive half, but still only the 1 goal. And I think Coach Phillips and company would love to get one more before halftime. It's not for lack of opportunities, but at 1-0 with a team that scored 37 goals this year, you can't relax.
Completely agree. And even though the Seahorses have been taking on some water so far this game, I think Coach Phillips won't be happy with this game until he gets his insurance goal. Because we are both soccer people. You know how important an insurance goal is.
Yeah, I mean, they're working it around nicely. But that ball is taken away by Nicholas Salas. And
Can't go in from the back there.
Yeah, Caleb Minovich with a little bit of a frustration foul as he lost that ball and did tackle from behind. Not showing a card, but I hear.
Did get a couple calls of no more of that.
Yeah, I heard the call come from the Titan bench. No more of that, and it's true. He was probably lucky to escape a yellow there, and I'm sure that the official has taken note. And one more foul like that's going to get him in the book.
Yeah,
That's a nice ball by the
thought
Seahorses.
that might have been off, but guess.
Yeah, it was tight, but right in front of the officials. So, ball played in by Brian Floyd, headed out by Davis Geis, but it goes back to the Seahorses now. Floyd again looks to play it in.
That time.
And
they get caught.
They are offside. So good job by Davis Geis, JT Morris in the back line, holding their line and drawing that offside. And yeah, our score is 1-0. I'm not sure if it says that on the graphics you guys might be seeing at home, but Titans do have a 1-0 lead here.
Yeah, with the goal by
goal by Quinn Slaybaugh, assist by Colin Flood, and we are 34.5 minutes into the first half.
Yeah, and it's been a very vocal Titans bench. Oh, okay.
All right, Seahorses looking for the counter here. Nice job by Connor Simonton. He read that spin move, got the interception, then plays it to the feet of Caleb Muminovich, who plays it into Quinn Slaybaugh.
Oh,
well played ball.
Oh, wow,
right
I
to his
am
feet. Yeah, I mean,
surprised by the no call there.
Yeah,
It looks like
me
Quinn
too.
got a touch, had a run, maybe got taken out by a high knee, but
Yeah, I thought that easily could have been a foul, but you know, as long as the officiating is consistent, which I think it has been, he's allowed physical play up to a point. But yeah, Slaybaugh didn't seem to have too many complaints, although that would have been a great position for a free kick. And we do have a sub here, a couple subs for the Titans.
looks like Charlie Kemp and Grant. Oh, nope. Is he staying on?
Yeah, I think Caleb Muminovich came off, and Jack Fannin comes in to his spot. And then Kenan Muminovich came in for Charlie in the center of the midfield there. And now Quinn Slaybaugh is going to have the ball on his feet.
And that's
Tackled from behind, and that one also deemed to be a fair tackle by Brian Floyd.
You know, I guess maybe I thought that Caleb Minovich tackle was clean, but on the first one that got called back, and I thought they called it a foul because he went from the back, but we'll see.
Yeah, he allowed that one from behind.
Yeah. I guess maybe because he wasn't sliding is what I was guess.
That ball got away from Jack Fannin, but here is the freshman Kenan Muminovich with a really nice one-touch pass out to Colin Flood. And Flood is just on it today. He looked for the switch there that did not come off as he looked for Grant Riddle. And now the Titans are just going to be content to possess. And now Fannin with the great ball to Flood, and Flood is in. Oh, he lays it off to Quinn Slaybaugh. It's right in front of the goal mouth, saved off the line. Alvaro Serrano,
right
yeah, so keeper Ethan Jones got a hand to it, which prevented it from going in the net. And then I think one more bounce would have taken it over the line, but well put out by Serrano, and the Seahorses stay at 1-0 down. That would have been such a great goal, as for a third time in about 3 minutes, Quinn Slaybaugh is taken to ground, and for a third time, the official says no foul. And now I am starting to question my own comment about the consistency. Well, he is being consistent. He's consistently allowing Quinn Slaybaugh to be fouled. But Connor Simonton, nice job there.
And I bet you if Colin gets that chance again, he's probably going to put that one on frame and try him.
Right, so that's that. I thought Colin made the right call there because he had a tough angle.
Completely agree.
He played that square ball to Slaybaugh, who had a better angle. Very unselfish play by Colin Flood. And, I mean, that just shows the maturity in his game, where he is, I think as a freshman, really was just goal scoring was priority 1, 2, and 3. But now playing in that attacking mid-role, he's really looking to get everybody else involved and leads the team in assists.
And that's really what you need to take you to the next level.
Yeah, that was definitely one of those making the extra pass. I don't know if any of our viewers are Ted Lasso fans, but
Yeah.
that was a theme in one of the episodes, I think, toward the end of season 1 of making the extra pass, and Flood did it there.
Yeah. And a lot of this Titans team follows that philosophy.
Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
no selfish players that I can really think of. Everyone here more than willing to get an assist over a goal
Yeah, I
because
think,
at the end of the
yeah,
day helps the team just as much.
yeah, I really agree with you, Cooper. I think this we haven't really talked about it, but I do think this has been a very unselfish team um, all season, and but particularly in this 6-game unbeaten streak, they've become even more unselfish,
Yeah.
and that has resulted in this great unbeaten streak. So I think you make a good shout there. Slaybaugh, Flood, Fannin, Muminovic, Riddle. I mean, all those guys are very capable of taking the ball and taking it on themselves, but they are always looking for a teammate. And I think at the end of the day, that's what you need to beat good teams. I mean, sometimes you can beat weaker teams off just individual talent, but to be a champion, and I know these guys want to compete for championships, you got to be team play. And the whistle does blow there in the Titans' favor. I mean, that was just a wrestling match in the middle. Brian Floyd of the Seahorses and Connor
That
Simonton.
one. That's one of the ones where you wonder. I mean, it goes for your side, so you can't complain. But at the same time, you gotta think they were both going at it
Yeah.
there. I mean,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah, they were both holding each other,
yeah.
and ultimately, though, the free kick comes to nothing as the Titans play kind of an aimless ball across the inline that will lead to a Christchurch goal kick. Christchurch bench didn't like that last call, and
Can't
the ref doesn't like what
particularly blame him.
they're saying. I don't blame them, but at the same time, it's like it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, nothing came of it. So it's not like it was a penalty kick that was missed or
Ooh, that's
yeah, that's a
probably
foul.
yep.
And
That's a yellow.
that is a yellow for Davis
Yeah.
Geis. He just totally mistimed that tackle. Um,
That was
I
a
don't
lot
think.
of chippiness with the
Yeah.
ref here. I wonder,
Well,
as you see that, obviously probably gonna go poorly for players on both sides because
Y-
what's
yeah, this is a referee that we have a lot, and he does a good job, but he definitely does not take a lot of back talk, um, and he can get a little bit heated when you try and talk back to him. So here's the free kick, left-footed free kick is a good one, saved by Kugelman, and that is actually the last kick of the first half. So we are playing 40-minute halves today. Sometimes we play 45s, at least for prep league games. Christchurch, formerly a member of the Prep League, but a few years ago left the league. So just 40-minute halves, and it was the left foot of Antonio Serrano put a nice shot on frame, and the first half ends with Mitchell Kugelman making that save and preserving the 1-0 lead. So it'll be 10 minutes for halftime. Let's do this, Cooper. You and I take about a 5-minute break here, and then we'll come back, kind of recap the first half for our viewers, and be prepared to watch what should be a really exciting second half. So we'll be back in 5 minutes. Stick around. See you soon. All right, we are back. Still at halftime here. 1-0 Titan lead between the Trinity Episcopal Titans and the Christchurch Fighting Seahorses. All right, so Cooper, Titans lead 1-0. What were your thoughts on what happened there in the first half?
I thought it was a really good half for the Titans, but I think one of the crucial things is going to be they had some. They were, I'd say, overall pretty confident on the back line, but I think if anywhere cracks is going to be there, because with that, especially with that yellow card to who I would consider maybe their real big cover center back in Davis Geis, he's going to have to watch himself. Especially, I think this ref is getting less and less patient with the fouls, and I think he's getting less and less patient with the comments, and I think he's might honestly play a bit of an impact on if he hands out maybe a questionable second yellow, or even just if he ends up calling one of the fouls, or 5 or 6 on Quinn Slayball down near the box. I think that's going to be crucial. But
Yeah, and to that point about Davis, I mean he's such an experienced and competent player that I mean he's going to know he's on a yellow. I don't see him being rash or putting himself in a position to get a second yellow. But having said that, sometimes whereas like the yellow that the Christchurch player Serrano took, like he knew exactly what he was doing. I'm gonna take my yellow. I'm gonna stop Colin Flood. Fine, fair enough. But not all yellows are intended, and so
yeah,
if Davis were to just being in that center back position, happen to miss time a challenge, I mean, yeah, he's just such a massively important player for this team. And of course, I would also take him out of the next match, which is at Woodbury Forest on Tuesday, which is a team that is up near the top of the Prep League and state rankings. So that's a huge game coming up. So that is gonna. I think you're onto something that it might just make Davis be that little bit more cautious.
and
And the way he plays, that could play on his mind a little bit. So
and the other thing I was wondering is if we do get a second goal, because the Seahorses, I mean, obviously this is going to be a very sink or swim. I'd say first half. I mean, first half of this half
mhm.
is going to be really a tone setter, because I think honestly the Titans, even though we kind of said it's a sin against them, how they score most of the goals at the end of the game. I mean, it also is obviously just scoring goals at the end of the game. That's going to be a positive.
Yeah.
So I think if Christchurch, they're really, I'd say maybe going to have 15, 20 minutes before that, just the endurance and the stamina that I think our soccer team has really kicks in. So I think that's going to be crucial. And if, let's say, for example, Quinn Slayball scores one of the chances that he had, we go up by 2. If you're Coach Phillips at that point, do you take out Davis Geis? Because you feel confident, you have the insurance goal, and as we mentioned, I mean, he had no intention of getting a yellow or a foul on that challenge. And if he goes out for that Woodbury game, I think that's really, really bad for our back line, because I think he's a crucial, crucial part, especially how we like to push our fullbacks up with
Yeah.
those overlapping runs that Liam and Griffin were making this game.
Yeah, yeah, I think you make a good point that certainly if the Titans can get to the last 10 or 15 minutes with a multiple goal lead, two or more goal lead, then I think it might be wise to to get Davis out of there just to be on the safe side. But obviously, if it's still a one goal difference, or if it's tied, or even if the Titans somehow are behind, then you can't afford to take Davis Geis out of the game. So uh, you never want to get a yellow in the first half because it just does put you a little bit under the pressure for the second half, particularly as a center back, which is probably the position most likely to get a yellow just by the nature of being that last defender. So I think that's something to look for. But I also think from what we've seen so far, Titans have about 7 shots on goal. Christchurch really just with 1 or 2, and so we haven't seen anything that would lead you to believe that Christchurch is going to score a bunch of goals. So I think if you're Trinity, the goal has got to be to score in the first 15 minutes, and at 2-0, you're going to be in really good shape. Just the Seahorses are built to defend, try and pull out a tight one, and so a 2-goal lead would be kind of a mountain for them to have to climb. On the flip side of that, though, if Christchurch is able to get the first goal of this half, then it's absolutely game on. and they're back to level, and at that point anything can happen. Or if neither team scores for a while and we just continue at 1-0, then that is also going to keep Christchurch believing that they absolutely have a chance, and it's going to keep the pressure on the Titans, who obviously having a 6-game unbeaten streak is phenomenal. That's what you would want. But the one downside is it does start to heap a little bit of pressure on you when it's like we haven't lost in weeks. And so you want to have some comfort, and a second goal would do that for you. So, Coop, I agree with you. I think this first 10 to 15 minutes will tell us a lot about where this final score is headed. And I'm going to be bold here and predict that the Titans will get a goal in the first 15 minutes of the second half. So we'll see. We'll see if that happens. Maybe I shouldn't be making those kind of predictions, but I just think that Coach Phillips and Coach Norville will have told them that this first few minutes is huge and really have them prepared to come out. And they've been such a great second half team that I do think that they will. If I had to make a prediction, I say Titans score in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, and I think my final score prediction, I think I'm going to go 3-0 or 4-0. I think it's going to be a 3-goal victory for the Titans, because I think Christchurch, they just have lacked the scoring opportunities this game. I think their closest one was probably when Davis guys got that yellow and they could that free kick.
Yeah,
that looks pretty dangerous right at the end.
It was.
But
it was, and very early they had a couple kind of half chances in the box. But for most of the half, the play was in the Titans' offensive half, and it's there again with Colin Flood in a really dangerous position. He plays it out to the right to Grant Riddle, back to Flood, who is onside. Oh, what a nifty footwork from Flood. The defenders pull out so as not to foul.
Yeah. And that was absolutely beautiful. That's exactly what Colin Flood loves to do. Just make defenders look silly, make them draw out, just either say you're taking a yellow or you're letting me go by.
Yeah, on the flip side, though, Christchurch was able to counter quickly, and Pablo Granados played a nice ball into the head of Nicholas Salas, and Salas put the header wide, but that was an impressive counterattack, as in about a 15-second time span, we had Flood creating in the box, but the ball got intercepted, and then Christchurch broke quickly, and I was really impressed with the speed of Pablo Granados as he brought it back the other way, and even was able to go past Griffin Wright, which that almost never happens.
Yeah, Griffin Wright just has an incredible motor.
He does, and Griffin has moved to a position that we have not seen him much, if at all, this season, which is at left back. So today he's playing at that left back role, which does give them a little more pace there. And the Titans have started a slightly different group than the first half. Grant Riddle, who did not start the game, as well as Kenan Muminovic, are in. I mean, really, they actually just came back the way they ended the first half.
Yeah.
So a couple of starters being Charlie Kemp and Caleb Muminovic have not started the second half. Throw-in comes in there and headed out, but Flood plays it back into the box, but a nice job to head by Wesley Kennedy.
And I think, honestly, Griffin Wright reminds me of, honestly, a lot of pros. Maybe not the fastest kid, not the tallest kid, but he has a motor like no other. James Milner, an example of one of those players.
Yeah.
Just can put him anywhere, and he'll work for you as hard as he can. You know you're always getting 100%.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've had the opportunity to coach Griffin in a couple different sports, actually, and he is such a hard worker. As you see him there, anticipate and get ahead on that ball. And the Titans look to possess a little bit here and keep the ball. Geis gives it back to Flood, now out to the left to Griffin Wright, and down the line to Jack Fannin, and they're moving the ball around nicely here. Fannin with a nice move, but he is dispossessed, but Connor Simonton looks to win it back, and now Fannin gets in the tackle, and it'll go out for a Seahorses throw. Yeah,
The only thing I'm worried about here for this Titans defense, they've looked really good, but they have Davis, guys playing 2 or 3 yards behind his fullbacks, and the only thing I'm scared of is a ball over the top of the head of Griffin or Liam. If they get a little bit too far up, and uh, Davis guys keeping them on sides, that could be
Yeah,
risky there.
yeah, we got several things happening here. Foul on Connor Simonton, but in the build up to that, Jack Fannin got tackled and he is down in some pain right now.
Looks like couldn't tell if he was holding his midsection or his knee rolled
Yeah,
away from our stand right now. We can't quite see.
yeah. Um, so yeah, as Coach Norville checks on him, looks like he's gonna be able to walk off and
Looks like
seeing if there's a sub.
imagine there's gonna have to be.
Reading, yeah.
Looks
I
like
mean,
Charlie Kemp
yeah,
is
if you
coming
stop
on.
play, you got to you have to sub him out by rule, and it is going to be Charlie Kemp. So
So
I wonder if they'll
wonder if they'll switch
yeah that
Charlie because he normally. I
plays
could
in the
imagine
middle.
they
Yeah,
see him and Connor Symington switching because we do know Connor has played on the wing earlier this season.
yeah. Good job again there. Good battle of the two number 22s, and Pablo Granados does a good job to win that ball. Griffin Raid and Pablo Granados are gonna. They've already become pretty well acquainted with each other here in the first 5 minutes of the second half. So it looks like for now, Kemp is. It was just a straight swap out on the left for Fannin, but you're right. Kemp usually does play in the center of the midfield, so we'll see if they leave him out on the left or make an adjustment. A nice little play there off the throw in for Christchurch, and oof, they were able to get a cross in that
That
actually struck the post the outside of the post, and then it did go out for a goal kick. But
thought that was gonna curl back in there. I was scared for a second.
yeah, I mean, I guess Mitchell Kugelman thought he had it covered, and ultimately he was right. But it was a little close for comfort there. I would tend to prefer just to go ahead and catch that and not take any risk. But all's well that ends well as it goes for a Titan goal kick, and then a not very good switch of play by Christchurch puts it in the path of Grant Riddle. And Grant is fighting hard for it to keep it in. It is still in. And it's now being carried out of the back by Serrano as he.
Serrano's had a great game. He's done what he's needed to. Only player who's dribbled past him so far is Colin Flood, I believe. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, hard tackle
looks
there.
Like he clipped the head.
Yeah, Brian Floyd with a hard tackle on Charlie Kemp, and Kemp takes a minute to get up. But you like the sportsmanship. Floyd rather, gives him a high five, and Kemp walks it off, and we play on. Now almost 7 minutes into the second half.
And I will say Christchurch has looked much more aggressive this half. I think their coach said, we need a goal. Go get me a goal.
I agree, although right now it's Quinn Slabaugh in the box looking for a goal, and his left-footed effort is into the woods. I do not envy whoever has to go and retrieve that ball. But, yeah, I agree with you, Cooper. I think that Christchurch has come out really strong in the second half. I mentioned in the first half their coach, Matthew Schaefer, really good coach. He's good tactically. He's good with motivation. He's good just as a leader. I've also had the chance to work with Coach Schaefer on the girls soccer state committee for over a decade, and he really knows the game. He also is a high-level referee, or at least used to be. So he clearly, whatever message he delivered at halftime, the Seahorses are taking to heart, and they're playing better than they did in the first half, I think, as they look to counterattack here. And there was a good example. Davis Geis put his foot up high. He got all ball, totally clean, no problem. But those plays like that we talked about at halftime. If he missed times one of those, he could put himself in jeopardy of a second yellow.
We'll see. It's a Titan throw in here, but that was a really dangerous sequence. Just a lot of great link-up play from the Seahorses there. I saw Antonio Serrano really making it work in that midfield. But
yeah. Oh, look at the big switch from Slabaugh right to the feet of Charlie Kemp, who.
Oh, I thought he missed the touch there, but saves it.
Yeah, and nice move by Kemp. He's driving at defenders. but ultimately Kemp gives a little push to the back of the Christchurch defender, and also it was a nice job there by, I think it was Copper Lehman who tackled that ball away from Kemp initially. All right, so now almost 9 minutes in.
And we'll see. I think both sides. There's no way this game ends 1-0 is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Because both sides have been very dangerous.
Yeah, one thing about, we talked about Christchurch looking a little bit better in the second half. I think they've also looked to be a little more offensive, which, I mean, at a goal down, you need to be. But they've come out of their shell a little bit and gotten numbers forward, which they've looked good at. I mean, they look like a team that does have some dangerous players that can hit you. A nice throw into Grant Riddle, who was there along the end line, but of course can't be offsides on a throw in. So Riddle was well positioned. He able to get to Colin Flood, who smacks a shot off a Seahorses defender, and it will travel out for a corner kick. And Flood's going to get a chance to take another corner kick.
We'll see if Ethan Jones repositions, because he has been sitting pretty far out, and I can't imagine after seeing him try to go for goal and knowing how good of a player that Colin Flood is.
Yeah, it might be a little tougher from this corner
Yeah.
for the right-footed player. It looks like it was going to be more of an out-swinging corner, but it's a good one. And Quinn Slaybaugh gets a free header, and he just put it over. I got to tell you, I mean, those kind of half chances like that, a lot of times you end up ruined when you don't score those. I mean, Quinn needs to do better and put that at least on frame and make Ethan Jones make a save. That was a perfect corner. Quinn Slaybaugh was essentially unmarked, free header. Now, granted, it's easy for us up here to say. I mean, it's hard to direct that down, but Quinn is a good enough player and strong in the air that I think that was a bit of a let-off for the Seahorses defending that corner. All right, Charlie Kemp brings this ball down as he's now, as we talked about, playing out on the left. Not his typical role in the center of the midfield, but he's looked good out there. He's making things happen. Another good throw-in down the line to Quinn Slaybaugh, who keeps it in right along the end line. Oh, that's a really good-looking ball by Slaybaugh that Ethan Jones read well and was able to scoop it up in front of Grant Riddle. You're not going to go by Liam Smith there.
It was smart idea, but I think he may have underestimated.
Yeah, I think that is playing right into Liam's strengths. I mean, you try and beat him one-on-one, he eats that for breakfast.
Yeah.
That's very much his comfort zone, is that 1v1 defending out there on his right side. And he did perfectly there. And now Liam plays it back to Davis Geis, who's plays the ball kind of aimlessly right
wasteful,
to the Seahorses, but they aren't able to do anything with it either. And now Flood finds Connor Simonton out on the left to Charlie Kemp. And Kemp looked to play it in left-footed to Slaybaugh, but it was knocked out of bounds by Nicolas Salas. Caleb Minovich looks like he's kind of testing something over there on the sideline, stretching out. As he will certainly
we'll see him back in. He was, I mean, maybe got a little too loose with it for a little bit, but he still had 3 or 4 absolutely amazing balls just lofted onto the far post.
Yeah, for sure. And Charlie Kemp working hard here to dig this one out, and it's still in play down in that far corner from us. Still in play as the Seahorses look to play it out of the back. And Griffin Wright wins it. Big slide tackle there, and actually knocked off of Griffin Wright as Brian Floyd's slide tackle was clean.
Yeah, and that's like one of the things I think the Seahorses have had a problem with so far. They've been getting possession past our first pressing line of our offense, but then they're playing what I would consider kind of unnecessary high in the air passes instead of just trying to keep it down. And the few times where they have, like Antonio Serrano, I know he had one run, and they looked beautiful, and they were just playing 1-2, 1-2. Real great tiki-taka football. But then so many times they've been just trying to send it down and beat the back line. At a certain point, you just have to go, this isn't working for us. We need to switch it up.
Yeah, well won there by the Seahorses, and now they do look to keep it on the ground and look for a switch of play. And it's Kenan Muminovic who Tried to play it out to the left to Charlie Kemp, but well handled by the Seahorses. And it's almost like they're listening to you, Coop, because they're
Yeah.
playing some good possession out here on the left. And a nice left-footed cross pops up.
Oh.
And this
I'm
ball,
not.
this ball is in a dangerous position.
Yeah, but
And Seahorse is still with an opportunity, and now
ooh,
play will stop.
I
As
thought
I
they
think,
knocked heads there,
yeah,
but
I think it was a collision of
yeah.
heads. Although
Ooh,
it seems like a
he might have
lower leg issue for the.
landed funny, is what
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
yeah, yeah. So that is Pablo Granados.
And he's probably been their best attacking force so far this half.
Yeah, he's been
Yeah,
really good.
Definitely their most dangerous with that ball sent right into, I believe that was Nicholas Salas, who just barely missed the header.
Yeah, so good to see that Granados is able to jog off. So that's a good sign. I think he's going to be okay. Getting some water, and I think he's fine there. But yeah, that was a really dangerous counterattack, and also that ball popped up on JT Morris, and he didn't handle it, but it was close to popping into his hand. So that's the kind of thing at a 1-0 lead where you feel like we're good, we're fine, but like that ball pops in. If it catches JT Morris on the arm,
That's a
it's
penalty.
it's a
Yeah,
penalty
no.
kick. And
That's
I want to be accountable here that I predicted a Titan goal in the first 15 minutes of the second half. We've just crossed the 15-minute threshold, and I was wrong. So I'm gonna hold my hand up there and say they haven't scored that goal yet. But part of the reason is because you got to give credit to Christchurch. They have come out with more energy, better passing, better tackling, and
oh,
and now they've created an opportunity from the top of the box and a shot that goes over, but Andrew Updike got it in a really nice position, and
oh, they might get a yellow on the coach right here. Oh, just a warning.
yeah,
Might have
yeah,
yelled something there, I believe.
yeah. Well, I mentioned in the first half that this particular referee is not like to be questioned. I mean, he will give it right back to you, and it actually was one of the assistant coaches there who was up. I'm not sure actually what he was complaining about, but he was quickly
Oh,
shot down. So out to Quinn Slabaugh out on the right. Who played that ball, Coop? I missed
I
that.
believe that was Davis Geis.
It was a lovely ball. I was kind of watching the coaches over for Christchurch and seeing what was going on. But Quinn Slabaugh wins a corner kick. He went 1-on-3 there to earn that corner kick. The last corner kick you will recall, Colin Flood played in a perfect ball that Quinn Slabaugh got a free header, but he wasn't able to direct it on goal, and it sailed over.
You know, and
But
the one thing,
I would look for that again.
I mean, we are only 15 minutes into this half. I still think there are going to be a lot more chances. But
Yeah, it's another really nicely flighted ball that ultimately finds the head of Quinn Slabaugh. That one was tougher. I mean, it popped off. I'm not actually sure who. Somebody's back, but it did find Slabaugh. But that he just didn't have enough pace on the ball to be able to get it past the keeper. But still, those corners are very dangerous, and Christchurch is not going to want to continue to give up a lot of corner kicks. On the flip side, I don't believe Christchurch has had a corner kick of their own yet. Liam Smith shields the defender nicely, and then Davis Geis gives him a shout and plays it out to the touchline right at midfield. Really good team defending there. Just love how Liam Smith plays that position.
and I do not believe we have mentioned it, but it appears Connor Symington has gone out for Caleb Luminovich. And then it looks like Salas going out for Theo Zimmerman.
Yeah, and you're exactly right, and that actually the Titans shuffled a few different things because Charlie Kemp now came back into the center of the midfield. Grant Riddle, who was on the right, is now on the left, and Caleb Muminovich out on the right wing for the Titans. So just one sub of Simonson off and Caleb on, but it led to a domino of several different position changes.
Yeah, I figured they would do that. Charlie Kemp does love being that maestro, Pirlo-esque role, just trying to make it work through the midfield.
Yeah, that deep line playmaker. I do think that's his best role. So Connor Simonton does a great job. He plays a little differently. Connor is more the destroyer, and Charlie is a little more of the creator from that deep line position. But also, we haven't talked a whole lot about, but a lot of minutes for Kenan Muminovic, the freshman who came in about the midway point of the first half, and he's been really solid in the center of the midfield. Hasn't necessarily had a ton of touches on the ball, but sometimes in that position, it's just about taking away their angles and being a presence and reading the game, and he's done really well. And speaking of reading the game, Davis Geis, not only did he read that, that is an
what a
incredible
beautiful
ball down the line that Quinn Slaybaugh is going to win a throw, plays the throw to Flood, which the defender there for Christchurch, I think that was Davis' ball, came in just in time.
Yeah.
But Davis Geis, I mean, wins the tackle, plays a
that must have been
65-yard ball down the line that hit Slaybaugh almost right in stride.
And going back to that challenge, I mean, if Colin Flood, just going back to what we were talking about earlier about the unintentional challenges, Colin Flood gets a touch on that, just a little flick, and then he gets that kid going into him. That's a penalty all day.
Yeah, it was close to being a penalty.
And last thing Christchurch needs right now.
The Titans have been on a good run of fortune of getting penalty kicks.
Yeah.
They've actually had 6 consecutive games with a penalty kick, which has got to be some sort of record. I talked to Coach Phillips about this the other day. He said, "Oh yeah, like most seasons we only are lucky if we get 2."
I'm sure they've been working with Manchester United this season. I mean, just
yeah, they get penalty kicks for fun in the red half of Manchester. Yeah, don't even get me started. And then somehow they get to Europe and don't get all the calls like they do in the Premier League. But
makes no sense. Makes no sense.
Yeah, I think Sir Alex is still in charge of the referees over in England. No, we're mostly kidding. But all right, yeah. Back to this action. Caleb Muminovic looked for the shot from just behind midfield, and he caught Ethan Jones a little off his line. And also, Ethan Jones having a bit of an issue as the sun is starting to get lower in the sky.
In there.
Yeah. So Jones did come up with it, but you can tell he had trouble seeing. So that was a clever thought by Caleb. And that's a really good touch, by Antonio Serrano.
And a beautiful pass.
JT Morris was looking for Kugelman to come for it, but
a little uncomfortable there.
Well, I think JT, it wasn't that no man's land between the center back and the keeper where JT's looking at Mitchell like, you coming? Yeah. And finally, he didn't get the shout, so JT just put it out left-footed. No problem for a throw. That was
Mitchell Kugelman is more of a traditional goalkeeper. I'll stay back on my line. I trust you get everything else, as opposed to I would say the more modern day interpretation of a goalkeeper, which is that is my box. That you're not getting anything in there.
Yeah, I totally agree. Mitchell, really good shot stopper. Not quite as comfortable with his feet as what you describe as a lot of keepers who are trained certainly at the top levels these days. But Mitchell's had a great season. He was my Titan Athlete Rookie of the Week last week for all Trinity Sports for just what he's been able to do as a first-year varsity player. And also, I used the term earlier, no-nonsense defender, to describe JT Morris, and I mean that absolutely as a compliment. And you saw it there. Like, JT, just if nothing's on, he'll just play it out, and that's fine. Like, it's defense first. That's his job. So I love that about JT.
Yeah, but the one problem with that is that he does feel more uncomfortable with the ball, and that is a problem, especially the way that we play it with our high line. We need defenders who are comfortable on the ball, and sometimes JT kind of takes the route one, I guess, approach, who just booted up there. I'm sure Quinn or Collins up there, and I think that might give us some problems on the state tournament with having.
Yeah, but the one thing I'll say, like, JT's never going to get beaten in a 1v1 situation. Like, he just takes so much pride in the defending, and so he's not the guy that's necessarily going to build the attack out of the back. But let's focus on what's happening here, though, which is a free kick in a pretty dangerous position. It looks like Brian Floyd's going to take it. He's going to put it over as Charlie Kemp was a little late on the tackle there, and that was in a tough position, but ultimately comes to nothing.
Yeah, it looks like Charlie kind of fell over, and then just his feet got tangled. It's going to be called a foul every time.
Yeah, I thought he might have gotten foul, but that went uncalled, and so then as he came down on the defender, and he ultimately was deemed to have committed the foul. So another sub for the Titans. Jack Fannin returns, and Grant Riddle, who had a really nice run out there, comes back. It also pushes Caleb Muminovic back to the left, where he immediately has an impact getting that ball. And there to his brother Kenan, who plays it to Charlie Kemp. And Kemp was fouled by Joseph Eusebio Solomon.
And I'm not. I mean, even that one, I thought that might have been a little shoulder to shoulder, but
Yeah, there definitely were plays, particularly on Quinn Slabaugh in the first half, that seemed more of a foul than the one the Titans were just able to get there. But um,
ooh,
Fannin,
dangerous ball back
yeah,
there.
Fannin left a tough one for Liam Smith, but he plays it back to Davis Geis, who goes big, and it finds its way all the way to the left to Caleb Minovich. This is a really dangerous position. He
See,
goes,
that's the thing.
he goes for the shot there. From that angle was going to be almost
Near
impossible.
Yeah,
I think Jack Fannin and Colin Flood kind of let him know
you can't do that. I
we
mean, we need
we
the
had a
pass
little
there.
we had a little bit better angle there.
That's exactly what happened to Quinn Slabaugh. He had I believe that near exact same angle, near exact same situation, and that's where it's my opinion that you just gotta pass that and trust your teammates.
Yeah. All right, so the Seahorses, as we've said, they're playing really well in the second half. This I'd say been very even. Titans definitely had the better of the play in the first half.
Handball or
I think that did come off the arm of Jack Fannin.
and
He
had
did,
a little touch at the end.
yeah.
Oh, did it? I mean, that's what.
Oh, maybe it hit I think it may have hit the referee, so that's why they played the
Oh.
drop ball.
I was confused there because I'm like, I did not know that handballs were drops now.
Yeah, no, that must have been what happened. I didn't see it, but it had to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fannin did not play it where the Christchurch player wanted to.
Yeah.
But I don't blame him. You don't want to just set them up for success. So, all right, Seahorses throw in. Griffin Wright intercepts. Caleb Minovich to Keenan, back to Caleb, and now out for a Titan throw. And the last couple throws they've had on that left side, they've really been able to create opportunities from. Griffin Wright has a big throw. This time he puts Quinn Slabaugh with a one-touch flick to Muminovich.
I think
Charlie Kemp did not get
just
all of
missed
that
that.
one with his
Ooh.
left foot. Charlie has worked hard on his left foot, but clearly his right is a little bit stronger.
See, that one, that looks like he puts his arm, I don't know.
Yeah.
Guess the ref didn't have the best angle of that.
Well, I like how Fannin
Yeah.
continues, though, to work hard to win it back, and ultimately Fannin's efforts lead to a turnover. And, that's a nice ball by Caleb Muminovich over to Colin Flood. Back to Caleb. Caleb gets taken down. No, the official says get up.
Oh, my gosh. I am just not sure at all what he saw there. I mean, Caleb made a touch, and then he had to.
Well, I
That
think
was, I guess maybe he was a little angry at Caleb for talking earlier.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think that Caleb kind of got on his bad list in the first half with that foul from behind and then also giving some lip. Gosh, Davis Geis just so poised and composed on the ball, and a great pass by Davis out to Caleb. But yeah, what a look by Caleb over to Jack Fannin. But
And
just
that's where you wonder. He's
Yeah.
dealt with hamstring problems, so I wonder because his leg,
yeah, it was a tough height too. I mean, it
Mhm.
was a little too high
the chest.
for the chest, a little too high for the foot, a little
Sorry.
too low for the chest, and he just kind of caught him in between. But Davis Geis there made the tackle, made two defenders miss, carried it out of the back. Really, really impressive, just poise and skill from Davis out of the back
That's what
there.
I was talking about earlier. I mean, that goal kick, they sent it straight up into the midfield where we have been having great possession this game.
Yeah, and it
And-
came right back down their throat.
Yeah, and you're going to see if he plays a good ball here, he's going to have Eusebio Solomon, and he's
Liam
Yeah.
Smith shields it out for a green throw there. The official stop play there. He is.
choice words
Yeah,
for Eusebio Solomon.
Yeah, he told him, "I don't want to hear anything else from you."
Yeah.
I believe the phrase I heard is one more word and you'll be sent.
Yeah.
So, Kemp.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought he
that was
clipped the
gonna be it.
heels of John Ball. So it's going to lead to a Seahorses free kick, and he's got some words as well.
Jeez, I mean, yeah, just really one of
Well-
those refs. You see them a lot who really like to put their will and put it on the game, make make them known that they are, I guess.
Yeah, he's definitely no nonsense. I've had, I mean, dozens of games with this official. He does a good job. He's very fit and keeps up with the play. You just can't talk back to him. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just what it is. Like, that was interesting there, actually, where the center ref, who we were just discussing, overruled his AR and gave that throw to the Titans, which was
And
the right
yeah,
call. But then
that
Griffin Wright with
looks like
a
it.
foul throw, that was
I guess
I
that
don't
might
even
be a
know.
ball never lies there.
Yeah.
Oh, it looked like
uh,
on the throw, and he didn't follow
Yeah,
through.
he didn't follow through. I mean, that was it was absolutely a foul throw.
Yeah.
And for me, for a senior to make a foul throw, like, you're coming out. Like, you just have to sit down for a minute and remember that that's unacceptable. I mean, we're talking 11 minutes left in a one-goal game. Great job by Keenan to make a tackle in the box, and then he just clears it and allows the Titans to get forward. But again, I think Keenan has played really solid minutes. He does not look like a freshman out there playing in that holding midfield role alongside Charlie Kemp.
Reminds me a lot of Charlie Kemp when he was a freshman.
Great first touch by Charlie. And now Keenan, you can just see his confidence, like, just in the body language. It's so fun as a coach, as a commentator, as a fan, to see a freshman just grow in confidence before your eyes. And we're seeing that right now from Keenan Muminovic. Another Titan throw where they go down the line to Quinn Slaybaugh, and Quinn is going to keep this in.
Oh,
And a
great
really
save.
nice idea as he looked to play it back to Colin Flood about 6 to 8 yards out, but well read by keeper Ethan Jones. And now Ethan throws it out to the right.
And you know what? I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. I think Christchurch, if they just try to work this ball and be patient, they're only down one here. I think a draw would mean a lot more for them than it would for Trinity. I think if they just stay patient, do the short balls, do what Trinity's really been giving them, they'll work it down like they have been instead of what they've been doing so far. A lot of this has just been booting it and seeing what works. I mean, you can't, especially in this sport, it's a sport of finesse. You can't throw it at a wall and see what sticks because it's a rubber ball. It won't.
Yeah, so agree with all that, Cooper. While you were saying that, we had an interesting development here. Davis Geis has come out. I don't know if that's like you talked about earlier with the on the yellow in the last 10 minutes, or if that injury that's been an issue for him crept up. It looks like he is trying to stretch. So you would assume he's hoping to come back in, but as a foul there on Quinn Slaybaugh as he worked in the box offensively. But, I mean, Davis Geis for me has been as good and solid and reliable as any Titan player today and for most of the season. So trying to preserve a one-goal lead in the last 10 minutes, I mean, you do not want to have to take him out. It does drop Caleb Muminovic to center back where he can absolutely play. There's no doubt that that's a good option there. But still, it's just hard to, when you haven't played center back all day, to get moved to that position.
Yeah,
So
and I think,
Davis stretching out over on the far sideline, and
honestly the one thing
keep an eye on that.
There, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. You got to come out. You got to say, that's my box.
Yeah.
Take those balls.
Yeah, good job by Kugelman to come out and own the box there, as you accurately point out. And now Kugelman's going to go for a big punt that crosses well over midfield, well headed by Jack Fannin, and now Charlie Kemp's going to win it. He just runs right through that ball. He's got Connor Simonton on the left, hits him right in stride, and Simonton pops it back over to Kemp, who keeps moving forward.
Ooh, did he catch his thigh?
No call. It looked like he may have, and
Looks like ref might have been playing the old no-hand advantage right there.
yeah, out to Fannin, out on the right, and Fannin keeps it in, although his pass is a stray right to the Seahorses.
And I was, at the start of this half, I was scared about how Seahorses would be, I guess, conditioned is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
But they have been keeping up with the Titans
Oh my gosh, what a job by Colin Flood. He tripped over the
And
ball.
that's going to be
He worked hard to win it back, and then he got taken out from behind
well, they might call
by
it.
Brian Floyd. Yeah, I mean
Looked like a bit of a tactical foul there, which
it did. That was that professional foul we talked about in the first half. I'm surprised that
got away with it, though.
the official didn't go to the pocket there, or is he now? It looks like actually he is going to show the yellow card
yeah,
to Brian Floyd.
Thought he would. Okay.
He definitely was writing some things in the notebook. I never saw the card, but he
Yeah.
oh, that's a nice looking ball by Miminovich to the
3
back
of them there.
post. Offside flag is up though, as the Titans straight a little early. Credit to the Seahorses for holding that line. And let's talk about Christchurch for a minute here. As we've got about 6 minutes left plus stoppage time. I mean, we talked about at halftime. We expected the Titans to go on and score. You know, you said probably 3 more goals. I said certainly one in the first 15 minutes. Well, Christchurch has just been a much better team in the second half than we saw in the first half. I don't think the Titans' play has dropped as much as Christchurch has just lifted their play. And
this is honestly the same thing I saw in the Benedictine game, where Benedictine started really, really slow that first 20 minutes. It looked like that was about to be a Titans blowout. But then they just started playing more and more intensity. They started work. So I'm wondering, like, if the teams are seeing the score lines of the Titans games and seeing these really high-scoring games and thinking we're going to drop back and then start to see, hey, I think we can give a little bit here.
The other thing I think is just so crucial in soccer is the 2-goal margin.
Yeah.
Like, I think if the Titans had gotten that second
I think
goal,
it'd be entirely different.
just psychologically, at 1 goal down, you feel like you are right there and you're going to push for the opportunity to tie it. If you get 2 goals down at this level, a lot of times you will see it's not – no, I'm not ever suggesting the team quits, but they get just a little bit of that hope taken away.
Oh, yeah.
And they find it harder to dig deep. So I think that's why like in that Benedictine game, they played great until Trinity scored a couple, and then they really struggled. And that's why I thought it was so crucial to get the second goal if the Titans could. But that's not for lack of trying. I mean, Christchurch has just been more intense than they were in the first half, more skillful, as Liam Smith does a nice job to tackle that ball right off of number 12, Antonio Serrano, who's been a really strong player for Christchurch. So no matter what the final score ends up being, I think Christchurch has really played an excellent second half. Having said all that, the Titans took the lead 13 minutes in. I mean, it would be a heartbreaker to not maintain that lead and get this win, which on balance, even though the second half's been very even, I think over the day the Titans do deserve to win. But now it's come in. And a good tackle.
Did he call a foul on that?
Handball, I think, on Christchurch, and I think he handled it as he possessed it. But nice
I
job by Caleb Miminovich. I mean, he, as we said, he's only been at center back for a few minutes, and granted, he didn't. It was a handball, so it wouldn't have mattered. But the ref hadn't blown the whistle yet. It was a great tackle, well timed, right inside the box. I mean, Caleb did very well there. And the Titans now, I mean, they are getting a little flustered.
I would say, probably, I think Christchurch has had the better. If I had to pick a winner for this half, I think Christchurch won this half. I think, but that they just haven't quite gotten enough to get what I feel like, quote unquote, deserving a goal. You know, putting the shots on target and stuff. But
in terms
of
of
soccer.
Yeah, in terms of clear-cut chances, there have been very few in the second half for either team. Couple half chances for each team. I mean, the Titans' probably best chance was the Quinn Slayball header on that corner kick early in the half.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like Kugelman has had to stand on his head to make a bunch of saves, but the Seahorses have been. Yeah, I agree. I mean, they've just had more control over things, and I mean, it's definitely been a change for sure. Okay, so we do see Davis Geis check back in.
So I think
about
that
3
probably
minutes left.
was maybe a bit of more of an injury thing.
Yeah, he stretched out a little bit, so he comes in. Kenan Miminovich, who was playing in center mid, comes out, and then his brother Caleb pushes up to the left wing, and it looks like now Connor Simonton, who was on the left, has dropped back into the center of the midfield. So again, with one substitution, Coach Phillips moving 4 or 5 positions around, as he's done several times today. But you got to feel good about having Davis Geis back in, and that's a nifty little ball played over the top, but Mitchell Kugelman read it very well.
And I also think Grados. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for mispronouncing your name here. I believe Grados.
Granados?
Granados, thank you. Might have been offsides there because he stopped his run early and looked at
Yeah, I didn't see the flag go up, but maybe because Mitchell was able to handle it,
the
they
other
just
thing.
didn't.
I mean, I feel like really in this first half, uh, Christchurch was playing passively. Just kind of floating, just letting Trinity happen to him, trying to keep like the bubble around the goal. But then in the second half, I really feel like they've been taking a much more passive role. You know, I mean, sorry, much more aggressive role,
Yeah.
trying to move forward.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that I do think they set up to defend first
Hmm.
and basically stuck with that for the first half. But at 1-0 down, I mean, they had they had to be more aggressive and come to play more, and they have. I mean, you take a risk when you do that. But speaking of a risk,
That
Titans
was
put a
a
ton of
bold,
people forward on that, and with both center backs up in the box. I mean, thankfully
and
for
then they
Trinity, that was not a
played
very
a low ball. I was
was
kind
n-
of surprised with the
yeah.
strategy there. Usually, if you put your center backs up, you're going for the header. Obviously, Titans, especially with JT Morris, a very tall center back.
Yeah, that's
But
a
I was
nice one
just
touch by Caleb Minich. Ball played over the top. He's in. He's on. Colin Flood is on, and Colin Flood finishes with the goal. That's going to do it.
And you
Great.
never want to call it over before the last whistle, but that's got to do it.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal ball by first, throw in that went to Caleb Minovich. One touch to Connor Simonton. He popped it over the top. Colin Flood was onside. The Seahorses threw their hands up, but their right back held him on, and Flood finished. And Colin Flood told me today that he was going to score a goal, and he wanted to dedicate it to Pop, his grandfather in New York, who watches all the games.
Oh, that is so
So
sweet.
right there, with just seconds left in the game, Colin Flood got that goal for Pop, and I hope he actually I played soccer in England in the Manchester United setup as a youth, is my understanding. So Pop, I hope you're enjoying the coverage, and your grandson Colin just put one in that should be the icing on the cake for another Titan victory. So that was awesome.
That was great. And ref's going to be calling time here. So honestly, kind of surprised he hasn't already.
Yeah,
But
so the first half he added no time, but now
he
we're
might have even
in.
taken away a little bit of time.
Yeah,
I mean,
it felt like the whistle blew early, but we're into stoppage time. Jack Fannon's
what a save.
great shot and a great save by Ethan Jones. But that goes back to the point I was making about now at 2 goals down.
Yeah,
You
there's-
see
you
Christchurch.
got nothing to play for.
The
'cause
heads have gone down. The energy that they did not
they were
they
building.
did not defend to the level they had before. Although thankfully for the Seahorses, Ethan Jones bailed them out because that easily could have been another goal.
Yeah.
And there's Colin Flood with a great corner.
Oh, how does nobody get ahead on that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. And Miminovich plays
And
it back in, but it drifts out for a
ref-
goal kick.
Ref playing 40.
Yeah, he's got the whistle. He's got the whistle to his mouth. I think you're gonna see.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, that goal
Oh
kick
my
goes right
God,
to
that
Quinn
was-
Slayball.
Is he going to go for the brace?
Left-footed, well defended there. Although it comes back to Flood, and that
Oh, I thought
touch
Pat might be getting there too there.
got away from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has gotten. I don't know. Like the Titans have after that second goal have a hunger for more.
Can't blame him. I mean, now you're
No.
just like, I need the goal difference.
Yeah. Good tackle by Griffin Wright. Whistle still in the referee's mouth. He's had it there for over a minute now, but yet to blow. Griffin
it's
Wright
middle of
took
the
a
field,
shot
huh?
to the face. I mean, it's getting super chippy. I would like to see the final whistle
There
go,
it
and we
is.
do.
Ends with a
We
slide.
do. Yeah,
tackle.
it ends with a slide tackle that could have gotten
Very
interesting.
bad.
So, 2-0 our final. Trinity Episcopal 2, Christchurch 0. The Titans, I think, on the balance with a well-deserved win, although this is such a good example of soccer, not the scoreline not always reflecting from the standpoint, meaning the first half Titans win 1-0, the second half Titans win 1-0, but it was absolutely a tale of two different halves.
Yeah.
The first half Titans pretty much dominated, and Christchurch offered very little in the way of coming forward. But the second half, a much more even contest, but ultimately a goal that was really a beautiful team goal that closed it out with,
Yeah.
I believe it was a Griffin Wright throw-in to Caleb Miminovich, one touch pass to Connor Simonton, one touch chip over the top to Colin Flood. He took 2 or 3 touches to bring himself under control and put it in the bottom corner to get that goal and seal this victory. Again, 7 games without a loss, 6 wins and a draw in the last 7 as the Titans just continue their hot streak in October. Really started, I guess, about mid-September. So as we wrap this broadcast up, Cooper, I want to get your final thoughts
Yeah.
in a second, but before we do that, let's tell our viewers what we have coming up on the network in the next few days. So Saturday, we're back at football, first home football game in 5 weeks. So tune in. It'll be 2 o'clock against Fork Union Military Academy. Then Tuesday, we're at field hockey as the Titans host Collegiate in a rematch of a very tight game from a couple weeks back. That should be an absolute barn burner with the Cougars coming over to play Titan field hockey. And then next Thursday, we're back at soccer for Senior Day against Veritas, um, including in the second half what promises to be the first ever all-student broadcast.
Should be fun.
So I know Coop's
Yeah.
looking forward to that one. Hopefully that won't be our last time on the air. But so a lot of exciting events coming up here with 3 more broadcasts in the next week or so. Now, having said all that, Cooper, let's put a bow on this thing. What are some final thoughts from you on today's 2-0 Titan victory?
So I would say Colin Flood, Quinn Slayball, electric as ever. They're just great duo, and we're gonna need them if working as well as they did today, if not better, if we want to go far in the state tournament. And I think the other big thing is we are gonna have to watch our back line. I feel like especially the end of today, as we got tired, we got more and more exposed. There were more and more chances, and teams. No, obviously, no offense to Christchurch, but just better teams are going to take advantage of that. And I'm looking forward to the state tournament, but I am nervous about how our back line's going to handle it, and if we're going to have to switch our system, maybe play a little bit further back.
Yeah, and Griffin Wright today played at left back, which generally Patrick Mealy and Matthias Rusi have been there. So gives you a little more experience with Griffin back there, but then also um, experience in terms of overall
Yeah.
varsity soccer experience. But in terms of that position, like you said, I actually thought it was a brilliant comparison of Griffin Wright to James Milner,
Yeah.
where he can play in the center of the midfield, he can play at the outside back, he can play a number of different places, but it isn't necessarily his most natural spot. So I'll be curious to see going forward. Is that what they're going to go with Griffin at left back, or was that just a change for today based on something they saw? Um, I actually don't know if I see Patrick today. So he might be out.
I
Yeah.
didn't
So
see him at school.
so with Patrick out sick, then that they had that adjustment, and we certainly hope Patrick gets well soon. He's had a really good year, but not having Griffin in the middle, it's like anything. Like you plug one hole, but you kind of open up another. Now we do have a lot of good players all over the field, but yeah, I think to your point, I mean the good news is this week 2 games, 2 clean sheets. So over 3 hours of scoreless soccer for the Titan defense. But then you look at last week and they had a 3-3 draw and a 5-3 win. So there have been games when the defense has been vulnerable and the offense has bailed them out. And I guess ultimately that's what you want, though, is a complementary team where last week the defense had a few holes and the offense stepped up and scored 8 goals in 2 games to make sure they didn't lose. This week the offense hasn't been firing quite to the degree that they had come to expect, particularly in that Covenant game when they really only created limited opportunities on Tuesday. But then the defense comes through with a clean sheet, and the same here today. And like we said, Christchurch played well, and it was a challenge. But ultimately, it's not like Christchurch had a ton of scoring opportunities.
No.
So I feel good about that defense, but you're right. Against teams with maybe a little more speed or experience up front, it's going to be a challenge. And that's what you want. At the end of the day, you want to play great teams. You want to earn everything you have. And I think the Titans have got to feel good about the direction of things. And also, from a coaching standpoint, having been a coach many times, what you don't want is to be playing perfectly in mid-October.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to peak too soon. So it's kind of nice that you're winning, but you still have some things to improve on, which means that the ceiling can get even higher. And we look forward to seeing that. So the next game for these Titans is at Woodbury Forest, very strong team. So that's going to be one of the bigger challenges of the season up at Woodbury. That's on Tuesday. We will not be on the air for that one. But we'll be back next Thursday for the next home game, Senior Day, when Veritas comes to visit. We hope you'll tune in then, if not before, when, as I mentioned, we have football Saturday, field hockey Tuesday of next week. And, Coop, anything else before we sign off here?
No. Oh, I will say one thing. Shout out Furman University. have a couple viewers coming from there. So
Oh, yeah?
thank you guys for tuning in.
All right, nice. Good deal. Hello to everyone down there. And thanks to everybody who tuned in. We really appreciate y'all support, and we're enjoying bringing this TESPN network to Titan fans, not just here in Richmond, but all over. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.